run them down. It would be dark soon, and that also favored the whaler, because its electronic equipment was far superior to Aleutian's 30-year-old systems. "Jenkins, have the lifeboats made ready. Katie, keep close watch on the radar. Tell me immediately if Nikita Maru is catching up to us." He wiped sweat from his forehead. This is going to be a very long night. A few minutes after midnight, the ship entered a pocket of cold air. Captain Turner shivered and said to the helmsman, "Holding up okay, Tommy?" "Heavy seas. Doing my damnedest to keep on course, sir." For the 100th time, he stared over Katie's shoulder at the radar screen. More than once, he'd seen ghostly blips that faded away. Must be nerves from worrying that the son of a bitch might run right over his ship. Katie had been on board only a week, but had already proved smart and strong-minded. She'd kept her attention riveted on the radar screen for hours without a break. He knew if anything real showed up, he could count on Katie to spot it. He braced himself against a steel bulkhead while his eyes scanned the darkness. Almost immediately, he saw something unexpected. He squinted. "Good God, it isn't possible." "Skipper!" the helmsman shouted. "Tell me what—" Before he could answer, it was too late. Chapter 2. July 7th, 5 p.m. Tikal, Guatemala. Jack Strider pressed his long frame against a nearly vertical rock face hundreds of feet above the Guatemalan jungle tree canopy. His weight rested on his left toes wedged into a crack and his right foot on a slightly higher angled shelf. He jammed his left hand into a shallow crevice above his shoulder, but his right hand was useless, unable to reach any handhold. His muscles quivered from fatigue, ready to let go. He could hang on for only a few more seconds. He'd taken one chance too many. Trying to back down blind would be suicide. His only chance was an unprotected leap for a hold above. If he missed, he'd be dead in however many seconds it would take to plunge into the treetops far below. The humid stillness was broken by buzzing insects strafing his head. Son of a bitch! I was insane to try this climb alone. He sucked in a deep breath. Time was up. He had to try. Desperate for lift, he shifted more weight to his right foot. As he lunged upward, top layers of rock scaled off and the shelf collapsed. He hooked his right hand, fingers like talons, over the edge of an impossibly out-of-reach hold. Dangling from his hands, he jerked his left knee up and flattened his climbing shoe against a crease in a column. His stability would only last for a few heartbeats. A one-arm pull-up gained him a higher connection with his left hand. His foot found a niche. Adrenaline, skill, and urgency all kicked in, and he moved fluidly from point to point, defying gravity, until he hauled himself across the summit outcrop. Muscles burning, he rolled onto his back and tossed his Petzl helmet to the side. After several looping spins across the rock, he dropped out of sight over the lip of the cliff. Damn! There was a spot a few hundred yards away he could rappel down, but now he'd have to descend with his head unprotected against falling rocks. Something that had seemed so important when he stood at the bottom of the cliff looking up had vanished a couple of minutes ago when he'd felt trapped. Now it filled his mind again. His old friend, Zalman Amos, fascinated by the ancient Maya civilization, had proposed months ago that they attempt to scale this peak in Guatemala's Tikal National Park. They both knew the climb would be tough, but the panoramic view of Tikal, seat of power of the Maya Empire, was said to be unsurpassed. When Zalman later developed health problems, he'd made climbing to this place the only entry on his bucket list. Then he became too weak to make the trip. Thinking the climb was too risky to attempt solo, Jack had invited Deborah Vanderberg, his law partner and very significant other, to join him. She was an experienced climber who could hold her own. She was also the love of his life. He remembered how days under a tropical sun and nights wrapped in sultry breezes had stoked their intimacy in